In the crowded and noisy streets of Lagos, Shadrach High School woke up every morning with thousands of students. Some of the students' names were on everyone's lips at this school: the popular, the bright, the loud. But some had fallen into silence. In that silence, there was a girl, Zena. Zena was the kind who didn't even seem to be seen in a crowd. With her long-sleeved shirts, curly hair that reached down to her forehead, and her always same gray bag, she managed to stay inconspicuous. But she wasn't really trying to stay inconspicuous. She was just trying to exist. Zena's silence was an inviting target for some, especially for the school's popular trio, Tola, Mirabelle, and Ijiro. "Hey, cardboard face. Did you steal clothes from the trash again?" Tola shouted during break time. Zena's shirt was old, her pants were worn out. But the thing they made fun of the most was the little cardboard notebook she always carried with her. While everyone made fun of her, no one wondered what she wrote in that notebook. Zena wouldn't answer. She would avert her eyes and quicken her steps. But that day, the storm inside her had begun to stir. During lunch, while sitting in the cafeteria, Tola snatched Zena's notebook from her hand. "Come on, let's see what this crazy person has said." She quickly turned the pages, then burst out laughing. "Look, she's drawn here. Zena's revenge list. Oh, I think she's going to cast a spell on us." The crowd burst out laughing. Zena's face turned white as chalk. Then she silently stood up and left the cafeteria. But that day, she added a new page to her notebook. Title: Plan A begins. Zena didn't look at anyone when she left school. She had her crumpled cardboard notebook in her pocket. With every step she took, there was only one voice echoing in her mind: enough. That evening, she went to their small one-room house in a slum in Lagos. Her mother was at work, working the night shift. The house was quiet, but Zena's mind was a storm. She put her notebook on the table, turned on the lamp, and began writing. Plan A: gather information. For a girl, information was power. Especially for someone who was quiet. She could notice anything because no one noticed her. The next day at school, no one noticed the change in her. Tola, Mirabelle, and Ijiro were still laughing, and the other students were milling around them. But Zena watched everyone out of the corner of her eye. She started with Ijiro. She knew he was a secret smoker. In the shed behind the basketball court in the back. Every Wednesday and Friday. Bingo, she said to herself. Then she learned about the secret lover who had been texting Mirabelle's phone. It turned out he was a married school employee. Zena found a way to take screenshots of these conversations. When Mirabelle's friend and Josie forgot her phone on the table in the sink one day, she quickly copied her text message history. As for Tola, she was the most dangerous. She walked around like the queen of the school, but she had a secret. Zena had learned that she was actually staying at her aunt's house instead of her father due to custody issues. That there were problems paying her school fees, and that she was studying on a scholarship. Although she seemed rich on the surface, in reality, everything was fake. Zena took pages of notes in her notebook. Who had what relationship with whom, how they treated which teacher, who had what weak points. It was all written down. That evening, she wrote in her notebook in capital letters, Plan B, reveal the secrets. But she knew it was too early. She would not rush. Zena, although she appeared as an ordinary girl who was mocked as ugly, was actually a mirror that everyone was afraid to see. And she would hold this mirror up to everyone's face, one by one. The last page read, I will not clean up the filth you hide behind your laughter. I will only make sure everyone sees it. Zena's weeks of observation and patience were beginning to pay off. Everything was in place. The first act of the play was about to open. That morning, when he came to school, he wasn't wearing his usual cardboard mask, but he was still keeping his head down, not making eye contact with anyone. No one had even noticed. The popular guys in school were busy enough with their own chaos. First, target each row, a photo that someone had pasted on the school wall just before lunch break. A secret photo of Ichiro smoking a cigarette behind the basketball court. Underneath it was written in capital letters, Queen Ichiro prepares for the royal ceremony with a cigarette. The students were shocked. Within minutes, the photo had spread to everyone's phones. The teachers took action immediately, and Ichiro was summoned to the principal's office. That day, Ichiro was suspended from school as a punishment. He was crying in tears. Who did this? But no one answered. Xena, on the other hand, sat quietly in her chair in the back row, only saying to herself, one more person. Second target, Mirabelle. A day later, a letter appeared on the school bulletin board. When the students gathered in front of the board during recess, the lines read shattered the silence. Dear Mirabelle, I can't forget the nights we spent together. I would be devastated if my wife found out. Please send me a message to meet again. Signature initials of a married employee working in the school cafeteria. This scandal was now spreading not only among the students, but also in the teacher's lounge. Mirabelle cried all day long, her cool stance, her proud walk. Everything had been destroyed. But Xena didn't stop. Last target, Tola. Tola's rich girl mask was Xena's strongest card. A secret email sent to the entire school revealed that Tola was actually a scholarship student, that the luxurious clothes she wore were bought from second-hand markets, and that she came to school in her friends' cars every day. No one sat next to Tola during recess that day. His social throne had been shattered, but the real event happened the next day at the school's morning meeting. The principal stood up in front of everyone and said, We have started an investigation into the recent events at school. It seems that a student has been spreading private information to discredit others. When this person or persons are identified, the necessary punishments will be given. Even though Xena's heart was pounding at that moment, her facial expression did not change. She knew that no one had noticed her. However, when she returned to the classroom, she found a note on her desk. There was a single sentence scribbled on a small piece of paper. I know, you did these things. But the game is not over yet. Xena narrowed her eyes as she read the note. The writing was familiar. Her instincts pointed her to Tola, but there was nothing definite. Now the second act of the play had begun. And this time, it would not be a war of secrets. Xena couldn't sleep for days after reading that note. Everything she had been sure of had been replaced by an uneasiness. That note wasn't just a threat, it was also a reminder. It was a dark echo, whispering that she couldn't escape her past, that she shouldn't forget who she was. Rumors were growing like an avalanche at school. Igro's family was threatening to sue the school, claiming that the photo was fake. Mirabelle was depressed and didn't come to school. Tola was still denying everything, but the crowd behind her was thinning out by the day. His eyes were also on Xena more often now. One night, Xena opened her diary, that she had kept in an old box. The pages contained memories she had been trying to forget for years. A burning house, screams, a mother's wails, a father's silence, and Xena's dark past. There was a reason she was so filled with anger. Because the bullying she had been subjected to as a child wasn't limited to what she had experienced at school. From a child who was ostracized by her own family, she had become a girl who was used to being humiliated in front of everyone. It wasn't just the students who called her ugly, it was her mother. It wasn't just the teachers who called her worthless, it was her father. School wasn't just a place for her, it was a battlefield where she tried to clear her past. But now, someone had discovered her weapons on this battlefield. That note showed that someone else was ready to enter the game. And Xena didn't know who her opponent was yet. A new chaos broke out in the school. One morning, when the class's digital board opened, Tola's scholarship certificate, Mirabelle's private messages, and Igro's disciplinary report were displayed simultaneously. This was no longer a personal revenge, but a scandal that would shake the school's general order. The entire school was called to the principal's office. The students were whispering. The teachers were looking at each other. The principal spoke harshly. A student leaked private information to the school system. From now on, All digital devices in the school have been locked. The investigation has been deepened. Computer records will be examined. Whoever did this will be found. Zena's face turned stony. She hadn't done this. She hadn't gone that far. But someone was proceeding with her signature. Now control was completely slipping out of her hands. A new note reached her. "You're next, Zena. I'll have the last laugh at this school." Her pupils dilated. Her heart felt like it was about to jump out of her chest. This writing was starting to look more familiar. The slant of the writing, the curve of the letters. These notes couldn't belong to Tola, or Zena's mouth went dry. At that moment, she realized that there was another victim in the story. Someone who was silent, in the shadows, never noticed. Perhaps he was the most dangerous. Zena couldn't sleep that night. She tossed and turned in her bed. There were 1,000 possibilities in her head, but one was increasingly prominent. Adana was a quiet girl who didn't draw anyone's attention in class. She was neither popular nor hated. She was stuck in the middle, ignored, forgotten. For years, Zena had a hard time even remembering her name. But now, the weight of that name was falling on Zena's shoulders. The next morning, Zena went to the library. She watched Adana silently. She saw her writing something on the computer. She approached curiously, but Adana immediately closed the computer when she noticed her. "What are you writing?" Zena asked. Her eyes narrowed. Adana answered without looking up. "Just my diary." But that smile, it gave Zena goosebumps. That familiar expression she had seen on her own face when she looked in the mirror years ago, revenge. After school, all the students were startled by a notification that came to their cell phones. An anonymous email had been sent to the entire school's communication group. Subject: Zena's true face. The email contained documents about Zena's past, reports that she was abandoned by her family, files about the fire she was involved in when she was young, psychological counseling records, everything. The only sound echoing in the school building was the students' laughter and astonished exclamations. As Zena walked down the hallway, everyone looked at her, some mocking her, some just pitying her. The girl who had once been the school's nightmare had now become an object of pity, and Adana stood at the end of the hallway, silently looking at her. Zena approached her, their eyes met. "Was that you?" Zena asked. Adana nodded slightly. "I wanted to be someone like you. Strong, fearless, defying everything. But you didn't even pity me. Now is my time." Zena couldn't hold back her tears. Her knees gave out. She sank to the ground. "I just didn't want them to forget me." That night, a note was found in Zena's room. "People didn't like me, but now they will remember me. This story must end here." Zena was found motionless in her bed. There was an empty medicine bottle next to her. The entire school was mourned. The principal gave a speech to the students. Bullying is not just about mockery. It is also done with silence, exclusion, and ignorance. Adana left school after what happened. No one heard from her again. Tola, Mirabelle, and Ijiro moved on with their lives, but they could never forget that day. That girl, that ugly, dangerous girl, left a mark on all of their souls. And a sign appeared on the school wall, in bold letters. "Don't underestimate the silent ones. The deepest screams come from the quietest hearts." Yes, the story is over. Have you been bullied too? Let's meet in the comments. If you liked the video, don't forget to like it and subscribe to my channel for more videos. Love. Bye.